Welcome to the mind of LANCESCURV, the most creatively profound man in cyberspace.
Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of LANCESCURV. I am so happy to be alive. I am so happy to have a full day ahead of me to accomplish and reach my goals. The more and more I live, the more and more I realize that happiness comes from within. It's nothing that is affected by the external. Well, we can have a little wave of good feelings from the external, but the sustained bit of happiness that is a constant, that has to be done under the hood. That has to be accomplished from within. And oftentimes I feel, and I know now, that it's how we look at things, it's how we deal with things, it's just so much to this. And I was speaking to a dear friend of mine the other day. Well, we weren't speaking on the phone, but we send constant voicemails and text messages. And, we were saying how, seeking truth and the seeking of truth, whatever that truth may be, or whatever area that may be in, that's a lot of stuff to do. Like, at what point do you realize that this thing called truth is elusive to know it all? Now, whether you say it's God or the Creator or the Most High or the universe, I'm not here, like I always say, to argue with you. But this pursuit of truth or a higher awareness of the world around us, it's too vast. I'm not saying to give up on it. I'm not saying that we should just stop. Because we are positive beings. We are put here for a reason. We weren't put here to be mediocre. We were all put here to be great. We were all put here to vibrate very, very high. And there are many of us here who don't realize that. Many of us have given up. Many of us have relegated themselves to a life of mediocrity. But it still doesn't feel good from within. When you have that job and you say, you know what, I tried to be a rocket scientist, but let me just go and just be that bus driver, correction officer. It gets paid so much a year. I'll eat. I'll maintain our home. Look, it's okay to do that. But don't ever stop realizing that you are made to be great in your own way. It may not be in the way that the next person is made to be great. And don't insult your Creator by trying to be great in the way the next man or woman is made. We're all very unique, and I really have to thank my parents for instilling the unshakable knowledge that many take years to realize, that you can do anything that you seek to do as long as it's righteous and it's signed off on by the Creator. I'll say Creator. It's like a parent. The Creator's like a parent when you go to the amusement park. When you go to the amusement park, you can say, hey, I want to go on this ride, I want to go on that ride. The Creator's happy because that parent knows that for the most part, and sometimes there's mishaps, but for the most part, that amusement park is safe. It's for you to happily wander and be stimulated by the lights and the music and the sounds and the dynamics of that ride, and you choose your path. You take two children to the amusement park and you set them free if you could. You're not going to ever leave your kids out of sight, of course, right? But if you could, and it's completely safe, and you could, their journey and their path in that amusement park for the day will be completely different. Of course, there's going to be some overlap. They might walk together and go on some rides together, but after a while, I want to go on this one, and you want to go on that one. You see what I mean? We're all individuals. We have our own path. Sometimes the paths will overlap for a little while, but I have my own path. When I was born, April 8th, 5:34 in the morning, 1963, at Columbia Presbyterian Hospital, I had my path. There were other people that I had a righteous collision course with. And what a wonderful thing that has been. And if it wasn't so wonderful, what a learning experience that has been. So we all have our learning experience. We all have our path and the lessons in it. But after a time, we want to have a little bit of spiritual ascension. Okay, we see our mind. We see the things we think about. We try to control those thoughts to make it something positive throughout our day. We need our mind, right? We need to plan our day and Okay, I'm going to do this accomplishment or project. I'm going to go to the gym today. I'm going to give myself better nourishment, whatever it takes. But on the spiritual level, that's an intangible that many people want to be better in, but don't know how. I don't claim to know the answers, but I know there's certain things you need to move toward, and there's certain things you need to move away from, right? And it's not negative to say, hey, don't go out in the backyard. We have 10 snakes back there and it's dark and they're running around and not caged up. No, that's not negative. It's saying, hey, I'm trying to preserve you. But many of us become shapeshifters. Many of us see the opportunity to use people because they're trying to ascend on a spiritual level, and then we can get some money out of them. We can get some ego rush out of them. We can get a follower if we can put ourselves up to be the prophet and sound good. There's a lot of craziness out here, but there's a lot of good stuff out here too. Life is wonderful. Just stick on the right path. You will go over the double yellow line sometimes. It doesn't always mean that you're going to have a head-on collision, but just be careful. Navigating authentic spiritual ascension, differentiating frequency, vibration, and energy from deceptive practices. In the pursuit of spiritual growth and ascension, individuals often encounter various paths, teachings, and personalities claiming to hold the keys to enlightenment. However, amidst genuine guidance, there exists a shadow realm of fraudulent practices and deceptive figures preying on seekers' vulnerabilities. Understanding the distinctions between authentic connections to the spiritual realms and deceitful schemes is crucial for those on the journey of self-discovery and enlightenment. Got a few points that I jotted down and I want to read to you. As a framework, doesn't mean that I know everything and this is something you have to follow letter for letter, or I'm the way and I'm the leader and I know everything and you must follow me because I am the prophet. No, I'm not saying that. Listen, I'm a human being. I'm feeling around for the light switch on a spiritual level just like everybody else. Maybe some may say, hey, you're a little bit ahead of me, but that doesn't mean someone else isn't ahead of me. It's not a matter of being ahead. So I want all of us to stop looking to human beings for the answer as though they know everything and they were born into this world perfect. I'm seeking just like you. But if I find a nugget of truth, something that I can pass along to help out, to empower you, sincerely, I'm going to do it. Number one, understanding frequency, vibration, and energy. Frequency refers to the rate at which something vibrates or oscillates. In spiritual terms, it pertains to the energy level or state of consciousness one operates on. Vibration describes the energetic essence or resonance emitted by an individual or object. It signifies the quality of energy and its alignment with higher spiritual planes. Energy represents the life force or subtle energy that permeates all existence. It encompasses physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual aspects of being. Simple, but it's funny how many of us confuse frequency, vibration, and energy. I hope that helped to clear it up for you. And if you forget it, you can always come back and listen to it. Authentic connections versus fraudulent practices. Authentic connections stem from genuine spiritual experiences, inner guidance, and alignment with universal truths such as love, compassion, and interconnectedness. Fraudulent practices characterized by manipulation, exploitation, and deceit for personal gain often manifesting as false teachings, exaggerated claims, and unethical behavior. Think about that. Tried and true practices of spiritual ascension, meditation and mindfulness, cultivating present moment awareness to connect with inner wisdom and higher consciousness. You hear that? Cultivating present moment awareness, being aware of who you are in the moment. Not thinking about what happened 25 years ago, or what's going to happen possibly 5 or 10 years from now. Yes, there's time to plan, but remember, be in that moment. That's when you get your downloads. You don't get your downloads thinking about something 25 years ago. You missed it. You missed the hoop. I don't see a basketball player jump the slam dunk and wait to slam dunk after he passed the hoop. You got to be right there on time. It may not be time at that moment for you to receive the downloads. You may not be in the right state of mind. Your mind still has a big play in this. Okay? Self-reflection and inner work. Engaging in introspection, shadow work, and self-improvement to facilitate personal growth and transformation. You can't be introspective sipping on liquor in the nightclub. You have all of these distractions. You can't be introspective while you're on your smartphone all the time, voicemailing and texting with 10 different people. You are out of yourself. So how are you going to know what to improve on a self-improvement level when you're babbling and you always want to be heard? You cannot be introspective when you don't put anything in that's worthwhile. And when it's time to speak, it's chock full of wisdom that others can use, whether they can use it or not. They may be on a higher level than you. We're not here to say higher or lower. We all are supposed to flow. There are people I know, they have to, like a machine gun. I know everything. I have all the connections. Everything comes to me. I'm intimidated by somebody else who may know something. Shut up! When you get around those types, be still. When you get around those types, personal experience, y'all, run. Find the exit. Get on out of there. Let nothing stop you from being introspective. Let nothing stop you from you having your own mind to yourself. You know, in boxing, I'm a big boxing fan, and every time you have a boxing match, if you have a great left jab, it really offsets the rhythm of the opponent. Jab, jab, jab. It's maybe not a knockout punch. Sometimes it could be. But people keep jabbing your mind, taking your mind off of what you need to be focused on, and you wonder why you get nothing done for the rest of the day. Introspection, shadow work, and self-improvement. I always say this, and I have to say it again. Everything in existence that you see was the product of a thought. If a person couldn't think about it, it couldn't happen. If your mind is distracted, the new you can't happen. You have the potential to be the greatest version of yourself tomorrow. I mean, like if it's Wednesday, we're saying Thursday. If it's Thursday, we're saying Friday. I'm not going to go through all the weeks now. But it's bit by bit. Now, some of the bits may be bigger. You get more done. And the other days may be baby steps. But that's very exciting to me because that comes from the inside. That happiness and joy from accomplishment comes from the inside. So stop looking outward. Stop looking outward for the answer. When it's the God in you. Yes, I said God. I don't mean it in any oppressive way as it has been given to us. But why not? Don't you have your parents' DNA? The physical earthly parents. They created you. You have the DNA of the both of them. Well, didn't the Creator create you also in a different sense? On a spiritual level, don't you have the His and the Her of the Creator? Two energies, right? You have it all in you. Activate it. Don't be distracted. Many of us are just sitting there getting stale, stagnant. Every morning I wake up, I'm telling you, I am very excited about each new passing day. Because I know I'm better today than I was yesterday, and I will be better tomorrow because of what I do today. Brick by brick, piece by piece, daily progress. And lots of times you will find those who resonate against you, and they're going to be there, right? I'm not going to focus on that, but I have to speak on that. You give them a life because they don't pursue their own life. And this is why their life is not happy to them, because if it was, they wouldn't be focused on you. Get it? So you are their leader in a sense. Keep on living and striving and ascending and getting better. And nothing they can do can take away the happiness of getting better with each passing day. Ain't that something? Compassion in service, practicing empathy, kindness, and altruism to foster spiritual evolution and contribute positively to the world. How you vibrate with the world. Are you a giver? Are you a taker? It's okay to receive, but don't always look to receive without giving back. That's not how nature works. Nature doesn't waste anything. Nature utilizes everything. Isn't that something? Even a dog walking down the road decides to have a bowel movement, and he's near the root of a tree or a plant, and that bowel movement feeds that plant to help it grow with more nutrients from what the dog has as waste, showing you that there is no waste. What may be waste for one situation is nutrition for another. Isn't that something? Remember that. Understand that. So even when you go through things, it's a lesson to help you to fly higher. Because you will fly higher. Now, if you tell yourself you're not, well, then that's another issue. You're doing it to yourself. Connection with nature. Communing with the natural world to experience the interconnectedness of all life and gain spiritual insights. Let me tell you something. The deepest spiritual lessons that I've learned that were the most powerful were just being out amongst the trees, the bushes, the plants, the insects, the animals, the air, the sun, the sky, and being still. It's a cleansing. I've been many places in my life, and as you well know, I was born and raised in New York City and lived the majority of my life there. I've been to most places there. I understand the vibrations and the frequencies and the chaos that you can experience. Mention that. And I would observe it. And I could tell you it does nothing for you. That stimulation takes you so far away from being connected to nature that nature itself, being still, will teach you so many lessons. When I see the ants walk in order, whether it's 2 or 3 rows of ants walking in the same direction, the order, and knowing they communicate. A lesson from the connection to nature. Yet many of us as human beings, who are supposed to be the highest beings, who have so much going for us, we have been reduced to the lowest level and lowest vibration. It doesn't have to be that way. You don't have to live that way. You get depressed when you think you're not going anywhere. Listen, it's in your hands. You can do it. You have the clay in front of you. You have your hands in front of you. Mold something beautiful out of that clay. Let nothing stop you. Okay, you've been knocked down, and you can't go any further sometimes you feel. Well, guess what? You can't go any much further down, but you can come up. You can come up. It's almost effortless because the energy that's in you, what you going to dig a hole deeper? I'm on rock bottom. Let me just go deeper. Nobody wants to do that unless they're mentally sick. But when you hit bottom, understand the promise of rising. And you shouldn't have to hit rock bottom to understand that. It's a victory for you to be alive to listen to this. Not that I'm so great, but to listen to something. Hopefully it's something edifying. Hopefully. But to go out in nature is the ultimate form of being realigned. You feel issues, perceived problems. Because I don't know about you, I don't have problems. I have challenges. I'm a champion. And whatever's thrown at me, I am going to win. Nothing defeats me. I'm equipped by the best, by the Creator, by the universe, by the Most High, by the God that's inside of me. And many of us out in the world, how are you doing, sir? I'm blessed and highly favored. And you go and you medicate yourself, whether it's liquor or deviant activities but you just spout these things without putting it into motion. If you put it into motion and you truly understand that you have it all inside of you and you're destined for greatness, you'll realize that anything that comes at you, it's like a person throwing a pebble at a tank. You got to know that you're a spiritual tank, but you can't get that to that place unless you feed into it. You cultivate it. You take your time and build it. And when the storms come, and when the challenges come, you'll find yourself ready, worthy, even to the point where you're looking for it. Oh, really? You want to come for me? Come on. I'm not saying to get cocky, but there's no reason why you should not walk this earth with confidence. You should walk the earth with confidence. Why are so many of us walking around not confident or acting confident and we're not? True confidence operates 24/7, even when sometimes things don't look good. They may not look that way. It may be a gloomy day, but do you think the sun stopped shining because the clouds got between you and the sun? The sun is still shining, and it has rays for you. You don't see it, but when it pokes through and the clouds move out of the way, the sun has rays for you, not or shining all over the place. The sun hits you, right? It touches your skin and your face and makes you squint. That's your gift. This universe has something for you, just like the sun. Even if it seems like people get between you and try to convince you that you don't have it and you don't have the gift and you're not worthy, that's them projecting their insecurities on you. I don't babysit anybody's insecurities. If there's something I want to do and something I can think up and see it in my mind, you can't stop me. And anything I've done before, I can replicate and do again. Seeking authentic teachers, discerning genuine spiritual guides who embody integrity, humility, and wisdom, and whose teachings resonate with one's inner truth. Resonate, y'all. Resonate. You have intuition. You have that sixth sense. I didn't say sixth sense, I said sixth sense. But a person who you see as a spiritual guide on a genuine level, if something doesn't feel right, then you got to step back. And one of the biggest things that they don't have after a while is humility. They get cocky. They get controlling. They get intimidated by other people who truly shine light. This is how you can tell. You see, when you have the light inside of you, you got to expect that even the false prophets don't want you around because you show them up with your very presence, with your very much sense of humility, with your integrity, because they move like a Trojan horse, these types of people who are fraudulent, and they hide behind the mask of righteousness and carefully crafted words, carefully thought out costumes to look the part. But deep down, if you can truly know their history, if you can truly know their path and their past, you will understand why they are the way they are and why they can't tell you much about their past. Where were you 5 years ago? Who was around you 5 years ago? What would those people say about you? Why don't they come around you no more? What happened? There's too many of them. People pop up out of nowhere and come with all of this. And so if you were like this all the time, you must have great people around you. It's a pattern, y'all. Humility, integrity, and wisdom. And it's got to resonate. After a while, when you walk in truth and you walk in light and you have your own light to shine to the world, it's quite evident who's who. How to avoid being taken advantage of. Number one, critical thinking and discernment. Questioning teachings, claims, and motives, and discerning between genuine guidance and manipulative tactics. Manipulation. You know when you want to go one way and this person's trying to pull you another way and it doesn't resonate. Something going on and it's not genuine. And if a person understands that they are truly in a position to help you ascend, they do not mind being questioned. They don't mind their claims being tested and their motives, because you're supposed to be completely transparent when you find yourself in this space. It's a lot of responsibility. You can't, don't question me. I know everything. Don't question me. This is God's work. And they hide behind the word God. Well, if it's God's work and you doing God's work, then why can't you be transparent? Number two, research and verification. Investigating the background, credentials, and reputation of spiritual leaders and organizations before committing. Not after an emotionally rousing service where everybody's jumping around and humming songs and smiling at you and, brother, sister, do you have a church home? Everybody's looking at you now. You don't want to say the wrong thing. Would you like to come? So you commit knowing that I ain't coming back here next week. You know what I mean? You got to trust your intuition. Listening to inner guidance and intuition to discern authenticity and avoid being misled by external influences. You ever went to a department store or some type of shop or some type of I wouldn't say a car dealer, because we don't do that every day, right? So you walk into somewhere where they're selling things, and it might be something that is a little more than the cash you have in your pocket. So you have credit cards. And you get so caught up in this product. It could be a vacuum cleaner. It could be a food processor, something along those lines. That's commercial grade food processor. And it costs a substantial amount of money. And it would look nice on your kitchen counter. But the salesman or the saleswoman's job is to get you to part with the money on your credit card and purchase this thing and bring it home. But you're being misled by external influences, because it would be nice to have it, but do you really need this thing? You're being influenced. So you have to listen to your inner guidance and your intuition to discern authenticity and avoid being misled by external influences. Because as soon as you get home, well, I mean, you still might enjoy the thought of it. You're not thinking about that credit card payment that's coming for sure. You take it, open out the box, you put it, oh, wow, look at that. But as soon as you get that credit card payment and you realize it's really something you shouldn't have bought, it hits you hard. So we have to be proactive, right? And trusting our intuition is very important. We also have to set boundaries, establishing clear boundaries and asserting personal sovereignty to protect against manipulation and exploitation. You got some jokers out here who can talk some spiritual talk. Even the creator will say, man, you good. You bending up the truth, making it self-serving. making it something that benefits you as the false prophet. And we sometimes don't have our boundaries up. You see, boundaries, and it's a word that sounds funny because we say bound. It's not a bad word. It's not a bad word. Because when you set boundaries, that's a line drawn in the sand of where a person is not supposed to cross. Physically, socially, mentally, spiritually. But when we don't draw the line, we can be easily disrespected. We can be easily taken advantage of. And we feel angry when the line that was drawn in our mind is violated, but we didn't draw the line that the other person. No. Listen, this is what I'm all about. These are the boundaries. You're over there, I'm over here. Here's the line you don't cross. But lots of times we're so nice with the religious leaders and their little religious minions. They find themselves up in your house, going through your medicine cabinet to see if you take any medication or any psych meds, trying to count how many toothbrushes are in the toothbrush holder, peeking in the bedroom to see if there's some man's shoes up under the side of your bed. What kind of car are you driving? Don't keep your bills on the coffee table, because when you go to the bathroom and step out of the room, they're going to try to see how much you pay for that car every month. Boundaries. I just want to throw this in there. Your home is your sanctuary. It's not a public space. External spirits and entities should not be able to find themselves at your front door. They shouldn't be able to see certain parts of your dwelling. Those things are sacred. And only tried, true, and proven energies in your life can get that far. Your sanctuary. Your body is a sanctuary. You can't let everybody in. You have to set the boundaries, and you have to draw the line. Or they can drive by and look at the pretty house all they want, but they ain't getting in there. I don't know you. I don't know what you're bringing into my home. Because my home is not, this is not just a house, this is a home. My adult womb that I'm in. So people get insulted when they thought things were a certain way with you. But I don't care how holy the person comes at you, you have boundaries. You must let them know, listen, I'm not saying anything bad about you. But there are people out here who are false prophets, who come around for profit, profit and profit. And we have to take our time with this if you are truly sincere, because I don't play with the spiritual growth of my life. Community and support. Surrounding oneself with like-minded individuals in supportive communities who share similar values and aspirations. If our values are not similar, what in the hell are we doing around each other? What are we doing around each other? It makes no sense. You pulling one way and I'm pulling. Somebody's compromising. Are you? Because I'm not. I've been around myself for so long, I don't think that everything I feel is proper and right and exact. I'm still trying to learn. I'm still trying to ascend. But I don't want to go down. I want to go up. And when you observe people who are always about going up, in a way where they're not just looking for attention. Because when you're looking for attention, you're looking for something else. It doesn't work that way. Oh, I just want attention and that's it. And you can see that spirit. The attention seekers. The ones who want to take that attention and turn it into something else. So this is why, for me, I'm glad that I've attained a measure of ascension and continue to go higher. Because just like the spaceship that is propelled up into the upper atmospheres by those rockets are eventually going to fall off and go back to Earth and burn up before they hit, hopefully. And that spaceship is going to be high up. Are we going to be held down by the so-called earthly things and the petty earthly proximities and the petty statuses that we work so hard to attain that doesn't do a daggone thing for us on a spiritual level. Is that what you want? Something that 5 years from now doesn't even matter? 10 years from now doesn't even matter? What about the positive imprint that you left on somebody's heart in a brief conversation on the public transportation? You don't even know what you did to that person to bring them up on a spiritual level. Stop giving yourself away to people who don't deserve you or who are not even seeking to go higher. Wasting your time, draining your life force. They're there. We know that. But leave them be. If you have to walk alone, then you have to walk alone until you have somebody who has a similar interests and ideologies as you. Because if you can't have that, you're only going to bring yourself down. And that's something that you just don't want. The journey of spiritual ascension is a deeply personal and transformative path that requires discernment, resilience, and inner guidance, of course. But by understanding the nuances of frequency, vibration, and energy, and by employing tried and true practices while remaining vigilant against deceptive tactics, seekers can navigate their way toward authentic growth, spiritual growth, and enlightenment, empowering themselves and others along the way in this journey called life. It's a journey, y'all. Come on. Where were you 5 years ago? I'm not saying to answer that publicly. And it doesn't mean just a physical location, but where were you mentally 5 years ago? Where were you mentally and physically 10, 15, 20 years ago? Break it down in 5-year increments. Now, if you're 10 years old, it's not much. If you're 20, every 2 years. If you're 50, 5 years. And go back. Where has the trajectory led you to? Have you ascended? Maybe you have $1 million in the bank or $5 million in the bank, and maybe you're just as dumb as you ever been. I'm not saying it'll be funny to anybody personally. Maybe you don't have much money and you've grown. Maybe you have lots of money and you grew. I'm not against having the funds. We're in this man-made engineered system. But just make sure that you get rid of the bad and keep the good. Resonate and never lose yourself from within. Always have a sense of yourself and a sense of your value and your worth. Never allow anyone to dismiss you and devalue you. Or they can run all up and down town and say the nastiest things about you to keep you from being popular with the people they want to be popular with because they're intimidated by your light. Let them have it. Let them have the standing ovations. Let them have the crowds. If they're not growing from the inside and ascending on a spiritual level, when the body goes back like those rockets, where's the spirit going to be? I'm not into wasting time. This is why my day is spent in a very efficient manner. I'm not better than anybody, but I'm not going to feel I have to spend mandatory time with people who are vibrating on such a lower level, on such in an improper frequency. Bad vibration, bad energy. No, I don't want to average out with that. I've said it 1,000,000 times. If the number 100 closed the bedroom door and engaged in the adult festivities with the number 50, the number 100 would come out the next day as 75. It lost because it laid down with something less than it. Now 50 came out as 75. They both find themselves with at the same percentage, but one was going up and one came down. One benefited and one lost. You can help those who are on lower frequencies than you, but they have to have the willingness to try to come up. They're there and they want to come up. Not in a deceptive way, but they're honest. Listen, I admire you. I see how you're living. I see how nothing really bothers you because you have your mind higher than this foolishness and chaos going on earth. I want to be like you, man. Or I want to be like you, sister. Then you can accept it because they're making a conscious choice. They're not reacting to what's thrown at them or averaging out with, you got people who they'll hang out, get drunk, cussing out, fornicating, adultery, whatever, because those are the people who are around them. And then they'll get around another crew the next week and they're upstanding. And because you have to have your own internal combustion to move toward positivity regardless as to what's around you. Regardless as to what's around you. You can't let the external decide what's happening with you on the internal. I always had that inside of me. From way back when I was doing bodybuilding. You ain't going to tempt me on no diet. It's locked. You're not going to stop me from going to the gym. I know what I'm going to do, and even more so. And that was just on a physical level. On a mental level, you are not going to break me. I've been through too much. Mind games. You don't know mind games with me. I'm going to smash you every time when you come at me that way because I know who I am on the inside. And that is something that you can never change. My frequency, my vibration, and my energy. Much love to you all. LANCESCURV out. On to the next one. Peace.
Make sure to go to LANCESCURV.com, an online magazine established in 2001, containing written articles, thousands of talk shows and discussions, cutting-edge cartoons, as well as erotic expressions and tasteful adult photography. It's definitely not for the faint of heart. Once you get a taste of the world of LANCESCURV, trust me, you'll be back for more. LANCESCURV.com. Bold, raw,